Nerves and vessels of back of forearm. So the competency is the important nerves and vessels of back of forearm and anatomical basis of wrist drop. Posterior introsseous nerve. This nerve is the terminal branch of radial nerve. It is motor nerve. It arises in front of lateral epicondyle of humerus. It reaches the back of forearm by winding round the lateral aspect of radius. It gives branches before supinator canal, that is, branches before supinator canal. It runs between two heads of supinator muscle called supinator canal to reach the dorsal aspect of forearm. It gives branches to extensor carpi radialis brevis and supinator, that is before entering the supinator canal. While it passes through the supinator canal, it gives an additional branch to the supinator. Branches which are given after emerging from supinator canal. After emerging from supinator canal, it gives us three short branches which go to supply extensor digitorum, extensor digiti minimi and extensor carpi ulnaris. And it gives two long branches. One is medial, other is lateral. The medial branch supplies extensor pollicis longus and extensor indicis. The lateral branch supplies abductor pollicis longus and extensor pollicis brevis muscles. The course in the back of forearm. This nerve is between superficial and deep groups of dorsal extensor muscles. It passes deep into extensor pollicis longus. It diminishes in size, which is thread size, and emerges to descend on the interosseous membrane. It terminates in the dorsum of the carpus. Branches in the dorsum. The branches which give the joints are the articular branches. So the branches given by posterior introsseous nerve supply to distal radioulnar, carpal joints, some intercarpal joints, and also intermetacarpal joints. Applied anatomy. The nerve injury to the posterior introsseous nerve may lead to wrist drop. Fracture of head, neck, and shaft of the humerus is the common cause of nerve injury, that is, nerve injury of posterior introsseous nerve. Posterior introsseous artery. The artery originates from common interosseous artery. It passes between the cauda obliqua and interosseous membrane. That is a gap which is present above the interosseous membrane. That is present between the radius and ulna. Then it runs deep to supinator muscle to reach the extensor compartment of the forearm. Branches. At the level of lower border of supinator, it gives branch called interosseous recurrent artery. The main trunk of the posterior introsseous artery passes distally after giving the branch. Anastomosis. Approximately 2 centimeters proximal to
distal radial ulnar joint. It anastomoses with anterior interosseous artery and the dorsal carpal arch and the vascular plexus around the ulnar head. Termination of the posterior interosseous artery is accompanied by the posterior interosseous nerve, which divides into sensory and motor branches. The sensory branch accompanies the artery as far distally as the wrist. Then we come to anatomical basis of wrist drop. Wrist drop is caused by lesion to radial nerve as it travels down the arm. The nerve as such is responsible for extension of wrist and fingers and also sensation of wrist and fingers. Radial nerve is composed of spinal nerve roots, that is from C5 to T1. The sensory component of the radial nerve carries cutaneous afferent from posterior aspect of arm, posterior aspect of forearm, and also hand. Saturday night palsy. It is posture-induced radial neuropathy produced by entrapment of radial nerve in the spinal groove. Arcada Farhus. At the elbow level, in the arcada farhos, the radial nerve bifurcates into two. This arcada farhos is at the proximal edge of supinator. So, after bifurcating, it gives two branches, that is, posterior interosseous nerve and superficial radial nerve. Then supply of the terminal branches. The posterior interosseous nerve supplies the forearm extensor muscles and the superficial radial nerve runs up to the hand and supplies dorsum of the hand. Then types of radial nerve injury. There are three types of radial neuropathy according to the level of injury. One is at the level of posterior interosseous nerve, another superficial radial nerve, or it can be combined before the terminal branches emerge. So coming to radial nerve injuries, the posterior interosseous nerve is the most vulnerable to entrapment just beyond its origin as it passes beneath the arcada farhos, that is the proximal margin of supinator, and this results in finger drop. Usually there is no complete wrist drop in this condition because extensor carpi radialis longus is supplied by radial nerve proximal to giving the posterior interosseous nerve. Then compression of superficial sensory nerve can result in loss of sensation. Or the third lesion, radial nerve injury can occur above the elbow, such as the Saturday night palsy or sleep palsy. So when this condition is present, there is extensor weakness of elbow, but there is wrist and finger drop and also accompanied by sensory disturbance. Coming to summary, that is of wrist drop, we have motor lesion, that is one, a high radial neuropathy proximal to spiral groove, that is above the spiral groove, or in the axilla, results in weakness in the elbow extension, wrist extension, and thumb and finger extension. So this lesion is above the spiral groove, can be anywhere, even axilla. Then radial neuropathy above elbow, that is in the spiral groove. It will present with preserved strength of elbow extension, but weakness in wrist, thumb and finger extension. A radial neuropathy distal to the spiral groove and proximal to the division of its terminal branches shows preserved elbow extension, weak thumb and finger extensors, and varying degrees of wrist extension and elbow flexion, depending upon the exact location of the lesion. A posterior intracisternal lesion indicates preserved strength in elbow extension, wrist extension with radial deviation. That is because of the other muscle, that is extensor carpi radialis longus, which is supplied by radial nerve, and elbow flexion. That is because of another muscle, that is brachioradialis, which is supplied before its division. Then coming to sensory, there is sensory loss over all areas, means it implicates radial nerve lesion is above the radial groove, at the spiral groove. Then sensory loss over posterolateral aspect of hand, thumb, with intact sensation over the posterior arm and forearm, is consistent with lesion of superficial radial lesion, a superficial radial nerve. Thank you.